All right, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Jack, and this is our first episode. So, today on this podcast, we're going to be talking about theater and music. I am a musical theater person. I have been involved in my high school theater program for about 3 years now going on to year number 4 in a few months, and I've been involved with it for that long. Mainly in tech, but starting to get more involved on the stage. So when it comes to theater, back in the day, I was more of a kid who would whenever they would see musicals, they would just I would just fast forward through all the songs, and I just fast forward through them and just get right to the dialogue. But it was in 2015. It was on Thanksgiving, actually. It was in 2015 that there was the Thanksgiving parade. Whenever Thanksgiving happens, there's always the parade and whatnot. And I remember they usually do performances of musicals that are brand new at the time, and this musical happened to be brand new at the time. So what happened was I remember getting up and seeing the parade, and then they were listing out who's going to be performing, this musical is performing, that musical, and they keep going down a list. And one of the musicals happened to be School of Rock. Now, I did not know what a musical was at the time. I was not really aware of it. So when I saw it said School of Rock, I thought the cast was reuniting for Thanksgiving. Now, to me, it seemed random, but I didn't really care. So I go up to wake up my brother because he's the one that got me introduced to the movie. I'm a big fan of the movie, Jack Black movie, whatnot. And I'm a big fan of Jack Black. He's literally top 3 favorite actors. So, that's why I love the movie. And I remember going to wake up my brother. I was hey, School of Rock, cast is, reuniting on Thanksgiving parade. And, he thought it was random as well. Well, also at the time he was also tired, but he thought it was random as well. And looking back on it, it would seem random for them to do, but I don't know. Maybe they had a connection to Thanksgiving parade. Maybe at the time, maybe that's what I thought at the time. So, I'm looking through the entire parade, just trying to find a performance because I can't find a performance. So, it wasn't until there was a float. There was a parade float that was shaped like a guitar, and that was the cast of School of Rock. And I remember just seeing it, and it was obviously not the movie cast of School of Rock; it was the Broadway cast. And then my brother was like, "You're a liar, Jack. You're a liar." And I was like, I did not know. I don't know what Broadway is, I don't know anything of it, So I remember recording that performance and then I started looking it up more, and then found out it was a musical, and I was like, okay. So and I was like, oh, this is basically plays but with music in it, but there's a clear difference though. So I remember just looking it up, and thought the music was sounding cool and whatnot, but I didn't really think of it at the time. It wasn't until we fast forward a couple years later. I was in Paris, actually. I was on a European trip with my family, and we were in Paris, and I remember just thinking of School of Rock the musical. For some reason I was thinking of it. And then I suddenly just see a promo for the show. So like, hmm. So I just looked up the promo and it looked really cool. Like the set looked really cool. The music sounded awesome. So I remember when I got home from being in Europe, when I got home, I just immediately just put on the soundtrack and it was amazing, honestly. And I remember sometimes I used to like pretend like if I were on stage or whatnot when I was younger, and I would use to like make like little sets or whatnot or make costumes, which I thought was pretty cool. And I remember doing that a lot for like School of Rock. Yeah, like yeah, that was pretty cool. And it wasn't until 2018 when it was the beginning of 2018 when I found out about it. That there was a national tour. I did not know musicals had a national tour at the time. I used to think they were in New York all the time, but they had a national tour. And I was like, and I remember it was beginning of May. I asked my parents. I was like, "Can we go see School of Rock? Can we go see it?" And then they were like sure, sure. So they went like on Ticketmaster, and this was at the time when Ticketmaster used to give like physical tickets. Nowadays they give you like e-tickets over the phone. They like when you purchase it, like e-tickets will be sent straight to your Ticketmaster account. This is back when they gave like physical tickets in the mail. I still have those physical tickets. So, so we were scheduled to go see School of Rock the musical in Los Angeles, California, at the Pantages Theater, and we went to go see it, and it was pretty cool experience. Honestly, experience that did change my life. Honestly, that day, but I remember though from that experience though, like after I saw the show, because it was so loud. Because like it was not like loud, but like it was very bass heavy, and I just remember I was like 12 or 11 at the time, and I was not really prepared for like kind of like the bass kind of kind of heavy sound. I was not really prepared for that, and I remember feeling kind of nauseous like that day. I felt kind of nauseous. So like, but before I could really do anything about it, I remember going to to the stage door to go get like autographs. I guess like when the actors, are done with the performance, they go get autographs, which I thought was pretty cool. So I took a couple pictures with some people there that were in the show. That was pretty cool, whatnot. And then after that, we left the theater. But I still remember being nauseous that day. So, me and my family, we just stopped at some pizza place in LA. I don't know, like to hopefully like solve the problem. Like I probably didn't eat that much that day. I don't know, but like, so yeah, so we stopped at a pizza place and whatnot, and then we went like straight home, whatnot, and that was like the real first experience I ever had with a musical. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I did see School of Rock not through the Pantages before, but like there was a local production where I live, and I remember seeing that like on the recommendation of someone who worked at my elementary school that knew someone else that worked there as well that had a daughter that was in the show. So like I just went to go see it, and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But obviously the tour, the actual like national tour was a lot better. And then I didn't really see any musicals after that year, at least as far as I can remember. It was just like this one time thing. But then when 2019 came around, I was like, I want to go see more shows, So I remember in June 2019, there was a production of Jesus Christ Superstar happening, like a small production. But yeah, I still wanted to go even though I was out of town because I just wanted to find a place to like just go see it. And And even the theater owners were actually surprised that we came all the way from where I live to like out of town to go see it. Because I remember we got there, we were the first ones there. And this was like a couple that owned like the theater. This is like a couple that seemed like they were in maybe like their 60s or 70s that owned the theater. And they were like, "You came all this way? Like, I'm surprised." So we went to go see Jesus Christ Superstar, which production was pretty great. Though my family was kind of a little jaded with the musical because after School of Rock, I discovered more musicals, and that show was one of those musicals I discovered. And literally, they were like, "Fine, we'll go see the show so you could shut up about it." No. In reality, like they wanted to go see it as well, but they were a little jaded though because I played it so much. Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty good, but only to come to find out that there was a 50th anniversary national tour, like planned, like within that same year, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" Like you plan a national tour just after I saw it? Oh, come on. And I'm like, "Would you guys want to take me again?" And they were like, "No." So, yeah. So, yeah, that happened. But it was still cool seeing that production anyway. I remember like that theater was pretty nice actually. It was pretty nice, pretty big theater. Had like I remember the lady was giving out some cookies and whatnot, like giving some like drinks that would cost like $1 or something. That was pretty cool. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But however, though, when like August came of that year, that was a pretty cool time to be alive because in August, that's when I remember Wicked. Like I saw Wicked in August of 2019, and I remember Wicked had just came to LA in November 2018, which I should have been more aware about at the time, but I was not. It came to LA, but like when I saw in August 2019, it was in San Jose, California. I remember asking my mom if we can go see the show. Now, the only reason why I saw the show there was because that was the only place in California where it was playing, and it worked out perfectly because my father was already on a work trip. So basically, we just met him there, honestly. Like when we went to go see the show, and the show was pretty good. I just wish I could do the stage door, but it was too late at night, so I was like, "Yeah, we'll just go home. We'll go back to the hotel and then go home." Yeah, and both like great like experiences. Honestly, really great experiences. I remember like just in the years of 2018, like in my final year of elementary school, I was like begging the teacher if we can do like a show, like if we could do a musical, if we could do like a play. Like I remember because the thing is we can't really do like a full scale like musical because it's already like hard enough to like learn like as it is. Like so I remember I remember suggesting like kind of like a small scale musical. So I thought like not necessarily like a musical, but like play with music in it. And that was a Charlie Brown Christmas. And I remember like, like I think that can work. Like, like Charlie Brown Christmas. Like I remember just seeing it. I was like, maybe this could be the production that school does. I remember I did a musical actually once when I was in the second grade. We did a musical called Character Matters, and basically it was like taking all the nursery rhymes, all the fables, the fairy tales, like all of those like stories you've heard as like a young toddler, all to court, and basically like explaining their like character or whatnot. Like, yeah, I just remember doing that. I think it was like the Magic Mirror, I believe. yeah, it was an interesting show. But I remember we would have to like we all stood on stage like if we were a choir, and I remember all we had was just a a like like a paper that told like who our character is and like a little string around it, and we wore that like for the kings like um they wore like a crown. I think the queens may have wore a dress. I don't know. I can't remember. Like I'll have to find like a photo because I feel like we did have some costumes, but like we really just stood there like a choir. We didn't really like decorate the stage or anything, which I really wish we should have though, because would have felt a lot better. But that's just what we did. So so I remember like asking the teacher, "Can you ask the principal if this is possible to put on like something like a Charlie Brown Christmas?" And the teacher was very like like she'd be willing to do that. She was very nice. So she said, "Yeah, I can try seeing if there's such a possibility." And while like I got the response from the teacher, and the teacher said the principal said that it would take a while for a production to like that to happen. Now the thing is, I wanted it to be staged in December because in December, that's the perfect time to stage it. It's literally called a Charlie Brown Christmas for a reason. But like it would take a while for something like that to be staged fully. So I was like, so I guess that's not happening. So yeah. So like literally I've been trying to get like that elementary school to do like more musicals or more like plays like by the time like it was over, like my time there was over. And then I head over to middle school and there wasn't necessarily like any like productions or anything that went on there. They didn't even have a talent show at my middle school. So which goes to show like how like often the stage was really used. But like I remember in 7th grade, I guess there was like a theater class. I guess there was a theater class, but it only lasted like a semester because that theater class ended up becoming a choir class. And so like the theater class, what they did was they did a Christmas Carol as like one of like the plays that they did, or I think it was the only play they did. And then they did just the choir concert, and that was all. I really wish I would have joined that class for the first semester. I was in 7th grade when I found out about it, but like, but I was too late. But I already did like an interesting class anyway, and that was the music lab class. Because like not only am I a fan of musical theater, but I write music myself. So, and I remember there was this teacher in the 8th grade who wrote music and played in a band with his wife, and I remember he was kind of like my mentor in music. If I'm being honest with you, he was kind of like my mentor because he was like telling me all of these things of like how you can get your music out there and what you can do with it and whatnot, or how you can make music sound way bigger, but you don't need like a lot of like equipment to make it such. So yeah. So like he did this like music like class like to teach people how they can make their own music. But we'll get into that we'll get into that a little bit later. Let me finish the theater story though first. So we talk about so we're talking about how like in middle school, like there was barely any theater productions and whatnot, like, and which I wasn't really surprised about because like it obviously was in like a theater like middle school. It wasn't like really anything theatrical. Like I mean, to be honest, it was a country middle school and the reason why I say it's a country middle school is because it was over out in like in the fields, in the farm fields, so it was kind of a more like traditional kind of area, So musical theater was not like really much of a norm, unless if you're doing Oklahoma the musical, then and there wasn't really any musical like theater you can really do that was relevant to the people that lived there, like at least in my opinion. So, but then when I joined high school was finally the opportunity because high school had a lot more opportunities, and I joined a class called Tech Theater. My original plan was to join one of the theater classes, but I didn't know which one to choose because I didn't know which one like really like tackled like actual theater or did, actual performances. Like I used to think, like high school like musical theater, the way how you get into plays or whatnot or musical theater was, signing up on a sign-up sheet like in the movies, but like, or going to the auditorium, which I mean that was the case though. That actually was the case for like the spring musicals, but for the fall shows, you would have to be part of a class called Theater 3. And I remember being in the tech classes because it was a great way to stay in the loop about the theater department, but it was also like B, like I was very shy and I didn't know exactly a lot about performing in shows. So I just wanted to I wanted to keep in loop with the theater department and at least get to know some theater people as well. So that's why I joined Tech Theater. And I remember the jobs that they were offering though when I joined, they weren't necessarily jobs that I really related to or I could really tackle. Like for example, like there was a lot of woodworking because you have to like build sets and whatnot. And like I'm not really experienced with wood or anything. And like I never really built anything. Like I mean I built things with cardboard, but wood is like a way different story. So yeah. Like maybe costuming I could do maybe sometime. Maybe because I did pretty good with costumes when I used to pretend to do musicals just in my living room, honestly. So but so I remember, but there was one position that I wanted to do that no one else was doing, honestly. So I remember it was one day I go up to the teacher and I said, can I be the person that records the shows? And the reason why I said that was because I already had experience. Like I have a YouTube channel. So I had experience recording stuff and editing them and whatnot. And I remember the teacher said at the time, she was like, I don't know. I think we have someone that records the shows. I think we already have someone that does that. But I'll look around. So it wasn't a complete no, but she wasn't really sure. This was actually her first year at the school. Let me just say. So I definitely understand why she probably didn't even know. But what happened was, so I ended up getting asked to record the show because she knew I was interested. So I ended up recording it, and I ended up recording the fall show and the spring musical that happened. But I guess what happened was at one of the productions, someone was hired to record the show, but that person never showed up. So, me on the other hand, however, did show up. So I think we clearly know who did their job better, if you know what I mean. So I recorded the show, I sent it over to the teacher, and the theater department, they loved seeing them on recording. I was worried, honestly, in the beginning if I can do this or not, because because I definitely understand if people definitely don't want to be recorded, but I wasn't seeing it as kind of embarrassing them or anything like that. I just wanted to capture a memory, capture something cool, because you only do the show for 3 days, so might as well keep something to remember it. So that's what I did, and eventually I got to meet the people, the theater department over the years and whatnot. and I'm glad to be continuing my fourth and final year in the theater department. But like, I'm gonna miss it though. When I leave, I am gonna miss it. But like going back onto music, like why not? Like so like because when musical theater, like I love like a lot of shows. There's School of Rock. There's Jesus Christ Superstar. There's Rent. Um, I love this musical called Fun Home. I don't know if any of you heard of that musical, but I love that musical. It's based on a great like graphic novel. Let's see what else musicals. There's also Hamilton. I love Hamilton. There's also Dear Evan Hansen. Like I also recently became a fan of this. The Prom. I recently became a fan of it. There's also Hedwig and the Angry Inch. That's also a great musical. Spring Awakening is also a good musical as well. And there's probably more I can think of. Also Mamma Mia. That's also a musical I got recently hooked onto, thanks to the theater department I'm part of. So yeah, but like not only do I love musical theater, but I'm also like writing like musical theater. I'm also writing it. I am like writing like 2 projects right now. One will be released as the first full-length Donut Dippers album. It will be released as the first full-length album from the Donut Dippers, called The Trip of Life. And that one's going to like tackle kind of how I felt like at the end of sophomore year, kind of like how I felt kind of like during like the winter months, because that was like a really dark time for me. And that's going to tackle how I feel about it. And like, or like the songs will tackle how I feel, like my feelings around it, but like through like characters and their story. Like the characters, it's about these like 5 characters who are going on like a trip and whatnot, and basically they're like, they recount like a bunch of memories and whatnot. And it's them really trying to figure out where do they like belong in life. Honestly, that's like what the story is for that project I'm going to release like soon, like for my band, like, which is Sugar Dusted Donut Dippers. Like, so yeah, so look out for that. The other project is called The Theatrical Journey. That one is going to be more like Rent inspired. Like, there's 2 inspirations I have right now. The musical Rent, and there's an album from the Smashing Pumpkins called Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and which great album by the way. And that like is so like it's gonna be about how it starts, like the show starts at like graduation and then it ends at graduation, but like the whole entire story is like building up to how you get there. And it's really just gonna be based around just kind of the people I've met and whatnot, just kind of the journey you go on with people you meet in high school. Like, and I got really inspired by it just by seeing just kind of like the year that I've seen, especially in my junior year. So like I'm still currently like writing it right now, so I don't really want to like mention a lot about it, but I really think it's a great project, and I think like it's definitely going to be the follow up to The Trip of Life. Like once after I release that, it'll be the follow up, and I really can't wait for you all to like hear it, because I definitely think this is going to be a great piece of work, a great piece of art, whatnot. Like music has always been like a great interest of mine. I got into music, like I've always wanted to learn music. Like I got my piano, or keyboard in 2013, and I remember learning how to play guitar in 2017. I would try to learn from like videos and whatnot on YouTube, but like the videos weren't working for me. So like I remember going to a guitar teacher, like in person, and teaching me guitar. But like that didn't end up working out as well. So I was like, I took a break from it for a while, but then I went back to it. And then like the videos, like once they started to sink in more, they started to like help me more. I started to learn, guitar more. I started learning, musical theater songs, but I also learned a lot of, songs that my brother and sister grew up listening to. And in 2020, when the COVID pandemic happened, like guitar was really the main thing I was doing because you needed something to do during that time. Like you couldn't go out, you couldn't yeah. So I remember just learning guitar, while, distance learning, just still learning guitar. And then I started to write songs actually before the COVID pandemic had actually started. I started to write songs. My method of writing songs was basically, I was inspired a lot by Weird Al because he would do a lot of song parodies, but like he had always a great way of writing lyrics, like if he wrote the song himself, or he had a great way of rearranging the song so like his parodies can work, which that's pretty cool, honestly. It really is. And like I remember I would take a song that I already loved, and I would just write out lyrics like if I were writing this song that I love. And that's like kind of how I learned like the structure of writing lyrics and whatnot. And that's how I learned how to write songs. And then eventually, chords, would start to come in, the instrumental, the melody of the song. And yeah. And then at that same time, I also started to try learning how to write musicals, at least in 2021. I wanted to learn how to write musicals. And I really credit the teacher I had in 8th grade, who was my musical mentor, because he told me that you don't really need a lot of equipment to make something great. You just need something you can play. And you for example, you don't need to have a lot of lyrics to say something. You just need some lyrics, just something, and you can stretch out that song. So I really credit him for giving me that kind of advice. And I remember I would just write lyrics and whatnot. It was just all nonsense lyrics, because I didn't really have anything to write about. But I remember my first musical attempt that I tried writing, I'm a big fan of the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and I remember trying to write about I tried to write Scott Pilgrim vs. the World into a rock musical, make it my version of Rent. Because I genuinely believe, and I still believe, that there should be a Scott Pilgrim musical on Broadway. I mean, have you seen the anime episode where they do a musical? Clearly, they're foreshadowing something. I don't know what it is, but they're foreshadowing. So, yeah. So my first attempt was writing a Scott Pilgrim musical, and then but then I took a break from that because obviously when you hit your peak at writing stuff, you eventually hit a slump. So yeah, but my main goal, however, though, was trying to write a musical about high school. I'd seen a lot of high school movies and whatnot, and while some of them portrayed realities of high school and some of them portrayed the fictional realities of high school, I just felt like there wasn't really a high school movie I can relate to, because most of them were from 2000s, 90s, or 80s. There wasn't really a high school movie that really showcased the high school I saw. And even if there was one in the 2010s, there wasn't really like one that was like being like real. At least to me, it wasn't really real to me. Like, and it's objective, which which I definitely get. Like movies are subjective, so it may have been real to some people, but it wasn't real to me. However, so I remember just taking notes in high school. I just took notes just anywhere I went, like if it were the quad or the campus or anything, just anywhere I went, and just writing them down, or or sometimes I would overhear conversations and just write it down, but like I didn't necessarily want to write the conversation I heard into the show. I necessarily wanted to just put it in a more universal sense, or just have it noted for later. Because like not to like write it because because like I wanted to find a way of how I could portray like everything I saw in the high school when I portray and make one great story, like one great musical about it. Like like for example, Dear Evan Hansen, the musical, like portrays high school in a pretty good way. Like, I mean, if you see like the set, it looks like you're in a social media world. Like if you see the set and the choreography for Dear Evan Hansen, so they portrayed it really well to some degree. And I remember just writing down everything I saw and whatnot. And but however, there was not really much of a story I really had. Like because I felt like every story that I can think of, someone has already done that. And the reason why I did, like the writing down, taking notes, was because this was not something that it's like this wasn't something that was not normal, but like was it like normal? Maybe not, but like it was uncommon to do. Like, I mean, what's the guy's name? Like, let me look him up for a second. Hold on. The guy's name, just make sure I got it right. Like, there's a filmmaker named Cameron Crowe who is known for doing Fast Times at Ridgemont High and in the movie Almost Famous. When he did the film Fast Times, he went into a high school in San Diego, and he just wrote about his experiences there. Like, he went undercover at a high school in San Diego, and he wrote about his experience. He would just take notes on like everything that he saw, and he put it into a book, and then he eventually like put it into a movie, and that movie spoke to a generation at the time. So so I wanted to make my version of that kind of movie, or my version of like Fast Times, my version of American Pie, or my version of Superbad, or Booksmart, or something like that. Something, or The Perks of Being a Wallflower, like something that like defined like the high school years. But so hopefully with the musical I'm writing right now, like the theatrical journey, could be that one like story I've been wanting to write since the start of high school, to like really define the experience. Because I really think theatrical journey does have a potential. It really like has like a potential to be on stage. Like, while it may not have the potential to be like staged onto like the high school stage, because I think the shows for my high school has already been decided. Well, not, I'm pretty sure. But like, hopefully I'll get it staged soon, because like at a theater in my town, because I definitely think it has potential. I really do think it has potential. And whenever it does get staged, I want people, like that I know to be in the show, especially people that like I know from the department, because like this show is about my friends, the people like that I've known from way back when, to the people that I know now and try to connect and make friends with, and this show is also about the department. So it's like it represents like every single like part of high school and represents every I'm trying to make sure every like single like piece of people like are like try to like get represented in this show as much as I can. Like I can't write everything about people because like, well, I don't know some people, so I can't write everything, but I can try to like represent at least what I see in the show. So yeah. So that is going to wrap it up for this episode of the podcast. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you all later. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day.